The biggest feature in Space Engineers no one uses. There's a feature in the game that's been in the game for around 2 years, and since it's been implemented, I've never used it, not once. So it had me thinking, has anyone else used it? So I created a poll and asked you guys if you used it, and a whopping 80% of you said they either hadn't used it or they've only used it once or twice. So why is that? What is this massive feature that's in the game that no one is using? Well, it's a feature you all know about. If I told you it was the biggest feature added to the game after its release, would you be able to guess? What if I told you it was the biggest update the game had before Warfare 2? Still struggling? Okay, it's the economy. On the 22nd of August 2019, the economy update and its related DLC was released. And I'm going to tell you, I was playing the game at that time, and till today I've not touched any of the economy mechanics. And it seems most of you haven't as well. So it probably makes you wonder, what are the economy mechanics? When I did my video on what was coming soon to Space Engineers, one of the things I mentioned was that I'd like them to add quests to the game, and they already exist. They're literally in the game. It's just none of us knew because none of us were looking. So here is a trade station above the moon, and this is where most of the economy mechanics come into play. So this is one of them, just quite a simple setup. You've got a vending machine, and you can see that you can switch between the icons, and you can use space credits to buy different things. So for example, it's got all 3 tiers of welder, and you can buy power kits. But it doesn't stop there. If we come inside the station, this room here has all 4 blocks that relate to the economy. So this is another vending machine here, so you press the buttons again, it cycles between the 4 options. This here is an ATM, which allows you to store your space credits, and this here is a store which allows you to buy and sell things with space credits. And what you'll immediately notice is you can buy ships, just straight up buy ships with space credits. Like, this is amazing. I never even knew you could do this, and it's just right here. You just buy an entire new ship. Now, whilst I personally want to build my own ships, I had no idea something like this was in the game. New players, if you just allow them to buy their own ship and fly away, that would be amazing. Now, ships are very expensive. You see this one is 22 million space credits, and you don't get a lot of space credits from selling components back. But that's where the next part comes in, the contracts. Contracts are the quests I mentioned earlier. You see some of these are netting nearly 500,000 space credits each. So if I go to the drop down here, you can see there's 6 different types of quests. There's the acquisition, which are your basic find and collect quests. So you get this amount of resource, you give it back and you get these space credits. You can see this one's asking for silver, this one for nickel, this one's for steel plates. That's a lot of money for steel plates, by the way. So I guess it wouldn't take you too long if you completed a couple of quests like these. Now, bounties sound amazing, but they're only available in multiplayer. For players that have low standings with factions, if someone on your server is playing as pirates or whatever and attacking NPC factions, there'll be quests in here to take down that player. Now, I think you only have to kill the player to complete the bounty. I haven't tested it. Like I said, this is the first time I've actually looked at any of these systems. But immediately, this is the kind of thing I was looking for. Dynamic quests that change with the way the world works. One of my friends, every time she plays, always manages to massively upset all the AI factions. So I can guarantee there'll be lots of quests to take them down in here. Economy will be enabled on my multiplayer server I'll be hosting over the summer. So if you want to partake in some bounty quests, there's a link to my Discord in the description below. The next type is escort, which again I mentioned this in my coming soon video, where I'd love quests where you just escort AIs around, and this is one of those quests. It just exists, and it's just been hidden under our noses this whole time. As you can imagine, there's an AI ship, it has cargo, they're getting attacked, so you have to protect them as you go. Now the reputation of this is based on how well you do, so you gain less reputation if they take more damage, and it looks like if you fail here you actually lose reputation, which is something to keep in mind. Next is hauling, which is the generic take this item, take it somewhere else. You can see the distance on these though, it's 424 kilometers. I think you're gonna need a jump drive to complete these. Well, this one's a bit shorter, this one's only 25k, but obviously it nets you less money. So these look like your end game quests to get lots of credits really quickly. Actually, thinking about this, these aren't really balanced because this one gives you 500,000 and this acquisition here for 180 steel plates gives you half as much. I feel like this hauling quest is a lot more difficult than this acquisition quest. Maybe that's something to cover later. So there's 2 repair contracts here, and you just have to go to a location and then you have to repair the ships. Quite simple, straightforward, and as Space Engineers is a building game, it makes sense to have a quest like this in the game. Finally, have search, which is just your generic, we've lost something, please go and find it. And these look like they don't give much, so I'm guessing they're quite easy. My assumption is that the difficulty of the quest is generally proportional to the amount of credits you get back from it. So once you complete your quest, you go back to your store and you can buy things. Now, as far as I'm aware, there's only 2 things that are exclusive to the store, and that's the plushie and safe zone chips. Now, neither of those are in here, so I guess you might need to find a different trading station if you wanted to get those. But that's something to keep in mind, as everything else you can just mine out of the ground or craft yourself. In fact, I don't think there's any ores in here whatsoever. I think it's just components. I don't know if that's random chance. I haven't been able to find another station. This is the only one I've been able to find. But as far as I'm aware, those are the only 2 things that are exclusive to these stations. Hi, future editors error here. I found a couple of extra trade stations after recording this, and I can confirm each different station sells different items. For example, this one is selling ores and ingots, and this one here is selling the elusive safe zone chips. I also found this contract here offering 4 million space credits, which is the single highest I've seen for a contract so far. So the question is, why does no one use these super cool features that exist? I mean, obviously a lot of development time went into this and none of us are using it. Well, to put it quite simply, I don't think it's anything to do with the actual systems. I was genuinely surprised when I was researching this because I didn't know any of this existed, and this is stuff I've been asking for ages. I was literally asking for stuff that already exists in the game. I think the simple problem is it's just too difficult to find. I spent nearly an hour trying to find this one station. I spent ages flying around the planet trying to find one, and then I looked up online and apparently they quite frequently spawn in the orbit of the moon. So I flew to the moon and I found one without 10 minutes, but the rest of the time I just couldn't find one on the surface. So I think for starters, they need to make a better way of you finding these. I did read on the internet, and as we know, sometimes people lie on the internet, but I did read that when you spawn in your survival pod has a data pad in it, which tells you where one of these is, which is a good way to start. But I'm assuming that different stores have different items for sale and for purchase. So that means you might need to find other trade stations other than the one you find originally. However, I'm assuming that these hauling contracts and stuff like that and escort contracts take you to other trade stations. So maybe once you find one, it's easy to find others. But just finding that initial one, I think that needs to be made easier. I think an easy way of doing this actually would be to have more NPCs in the world. There's an escort quest here where NPCs attack other NPCs. I'm just thinking, why doesn't this happen in the world as a radiant encounter? On my way here, I saw 0 NPCs at all. Fly around the whole planet, up into space, and the first sign of life I saw is this trade station. So if there are more NPCs around, maybe some friendly ones could direct you towards a trade station. Or maybe they could just be flying towards a trade station. That'd be an easy way to find one. I think the final most important reason that people aren't using the system is because it's not really worth it. Like I said, all of this stuff is super cool, but there's no reason to use space credits. Let me put it this way. All of the ores except platinum and uranium spawn on the planet, which means everything you need is on the planet and you just go mine it. If it's this difficult to find a trade station, why would you ever go to a trade station when you could just mine the ore? And mining most ores is pretty easy, much easier than doing a hauling quest and stuff because you have to already have a pre-established ship to do that. And by the looks of some of these quests, you probably need quite a good ship as well if you need a jump drive to do some of them. Some people did tell me that these stations are really good for getting early game tools because you only have to complete one quest and then you can get yourself a tier 3 welder, which does sound pretty cool in concept. But there needs to be more stuff like that where you can get a leg up by doing these contracts to get your space credits to give you something more worthwhile. I think a good example of this would be maybe there'd be some unique resource to trade stations, or maybe if there were unique resources to other planets. For example, say Pertam had a unique ore, you could get it from trade stations without going to Pertam. Obviously the price would be inflated because Pertam's a long way away, but it would give you a way to get access to the ore if you either couldn't get to Pertam or you didn't want to go to Pertam because it was too far away. Obviously in the long term for you, it'd be easier to go to Pertam and get the ore, but if you were in the early game, you just wanted this special ore, you could get it that way. I think you could probably do this already with stuff like platinum and uranium, but I haven't seen platinum and uranium in these stations yet, so I don't know. Future me again. Yes, I have. I saw a station that sold platinum after I recorded this video, so you definitely have to find multiple stations if you want to take full advantage of the economy system. Doing all this research and seeing what's available in these trade stations actually makes me really tempted to do an economy only playthrough where I'm not allowed to mine any ores, I'm only allowed to get stuff from trade stations. I don't know if that's possible, but it's something I'd really like to try. As I'm hosting my multiplayer server very soon, I guess I could do it on there. If you guys would be interested to watch that, I'll be streaming it on my Twitch channel, which I'll link in the description below. And also if you want to join the multiplayer server, you can join my Discord in the description as well. But yeah, that's economy, the system that King worked really hard on and no one uses. If you take anything away from this video, please give the economy systems a try, because who knows, maybe this will be the feature to spice up your next playthrough. Are there any other features in Space Engineers that you think go under the radar that no one uses? Let me know with a comment below. And if you found this video helpful, like and subscribe for more Space Engineers content.